Hello, welcome to the first Movie Maniacs review. I'm Simon Jago.
And I'm Ryan Casey.
And last night we saw Gareth Edwards' Godzilla. And for me, I really liked it. I think it was Godzilla.
Well, for me, it was more mediocre-zilla, to be honest.
Didn't like it?
Well, it wasn't really what I was expecting, and you'll find out why in a bit.
Whatever it is, that's in there. Whatever it is they're guarding so carefully, it's real.
For those of you who don't know, Godzilla is a huge, radioactive, giant nuclear monster with spikes on his back, best known for his original appearance in the 1954 Godzilla.
For those of you who are less in the know about Godzilla, like me, the first real taste of Godzilla that I got was the 1998 Roland Emmerich Jamiroquai.
I guess that was a bad taste.
Awful taste. Awful taste. It tasted like sick.
For me as a kid, I remember going to see Men in Black at the cinema, and this was about a year before Godzilla came out, and the first trailer came on, and I pretty much blew my prepubescent pants with excitement at the idea of an American remake of Godzilla. This wasn't going to be men in costumes, this was going to be CGI, and I was really, really excited.
Understandably.
Really excited, and I was horribly disappointed. So Godzilla stars Bryan Cranston, best known for being the Danger in Breaking Bad, but this time he's in danger. He plays a scientist who works at a nuclear power station in Japan. There's a horrible disaster. Years later, he thinks it was a government cover-up and something else was responsible. We follow the lives of him and his now grown-up son, Aaron Taylor-Johnson, and basically just how their lives get embroiled with giant monsters attacking up the place.
They evacuated us so quickly. I don't even have a picture of her.
Godzilla smacks of Gareth Edwards for me. It plays out a lot like Monsters. If you've seen his debut film, Monsters, the characters really drive the film and the monsters are almost secondary. I mean, the film could pretty much be called Brody because it just basically focuses on the Brody family, and Godzilla is just a secondary character and the monsters are just something going on in the background, like a tornado or a hurricane. The film is not about them, it's about the people that the natural disasters affect.
It is a much, 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 much better film than the Roland Emmerich, Matthew Broderick pile of shit.
But you didn't like it as much as I did. You were disappointed.
No. Well, no, the reason I didn't like it as much as you did, because I'm not a fanboy like Simon is, I was expecting something a little bit different. I was expecting something more along the lines of Pacific Rim, you know, more monsters, more fighting, you know, a lot more action sequences.
How do you compare Godzilla with Pacific Rim? Because obviously that's the most recent giant monster kaiju flick to come out.
Well, I mean, I think Pacific Rim's a lot easier to watch. It's a lot more fun. It's a lot more action. So if that's what you're going into Godzilla thinking that's going to be the case, then you're going to be disappointed. I personally prefer Pacific Rim. Not that Godzilla's a bad film, but as I said, it just wasn't what I was expecting. In the middle part of the film, the middle act, I just got, I hate using this word, but I just got a bit bored.
Godzilla is a whore. It's a whore of a film, teasing you the whole way through, and Gareth Edwards is the pimp. I mean, they promise all this satisfaction. You keep thinking Godzilla's going to come, you keep thinking there's going to be a huge fight, and every time you think you're there, you think you got the knickers off, it just cuts away some kid sleeping or some army people.
See, even that irritated you, and you were more willing to accept the style of the film was.
But the third act delivered. I'm talking, you're sitting there in the cinema, you're frustrated, you're basically gagging for Godzilla, and you get it right there in your lap. You get the whole hog, everything delivered.
If you're getting bored in the middle, don't think, oh, I've had enough of this, and walk out. You've got to wait for the end, because the end is worth the wait. It is just a frustrating wait until you get there.
So, the monsters, Muto, what do you think about Muto?
Well, you know, I mean, first of all, the name, Muto.
Can you remember what it stands for?
Of course I can't.
Muto, massive unidentified terrestrial organism. It is, however, no longer terrestrial, it is airborne.
Yeah, it's a bit loose for me, the name, a bit weak, but
Awful.
I think he did a good job. He made up for it with some new and imaginative creations. You disagree?
You say it's imaginative, but for me it just looked like another standard long-limbed, lumbering monster that It looked like the monster from Cloverfield to me. It didn't feel that original.
A bit, but some of the designs, it reminded me a bit of old monsters like Gigan and Orgar.
I don't know who they are. They're just saying words. That means nothing to me.
The bright red eyes and the metallic finish. It kind of reminded me of some of the old Toho monsters. I think he's definitely had a look at the old Toho creatures and thought what is missing and tried to create something new.
I will say this. It did grow on me. The first reveal, I was a bit like, oh, that's a bit shit. But as the film progressed, they did grow on me, the other monsters.
So me and Ryan, we met Gareth Edwards back in 2012 at the Empire Awards, and I remember harassing him to try and find out some information on what the monsters were going to be, if there was going to be more monsters. I remember discussing with him some of the older Japanese Godzilla films, some of my favourites, which you're not going to be familiar with.
I haven't got a clue.
But Destroy All Monsters, GMK, Godzilla Monsters All Out Attack, the big showdown pieces which had lots of monsters. And I remember getting out of him that there was going to be other monsters in it, and my bets were on Baragon and Mothra. Mothra, a lot of people do know, Baragon not so much, but I thought that he was going to try and reinvent some of the other monsters, but it became clear on the lead up to the film that there wasn't going to be any other Toho monsters involved, and that was a bit disappointing. I was a bit disappointed, but I thought, let's see what he does with his own monsters. There was two bits in my mind as a Godzilla fan that were real spunky pants moments, and they were the first Godzilla roar. And then the second moment for me was when the tail started to glow blue and you saw the run of spikes all glowing blue, and he just unleashed his radioactive blast.
So there are more moments in the film.
Yeah,
but that's the fanboy coming out there.
But there was a lot of moments in the film that for me really struck a chord with Godzilla fans. There was lots of little like nods to past Godzilla films.
Okay, so now we get down to the ratings of Godzilla. I thought it was a good film, but it wasn't what I was expecting. So on first viewing, I'm going to give it a generous 3.5 out of 5.
Yeah, okay. I thought you were going to be harsher than that. I'd probably say that's accurate. I think a 4 out of 5 has been very generous. I wouldn't disagree if someone gave it a 4, but for me it's probably closer to a 3.5. I just think I got a little bit bored in the middle. The film managed to carry me through, but I think a lot of that is to do with the fact that I love Godzilla. And to be honest, if there was a 2-hour film of literally Godzilla walking from continent to continent fighting a different monster, that would entertain me greatly, whereas some people would lose interest. So
yeah. So we're going to settle 3.5.
3.5. That's the movie Maniacs rating for Godzilla. But definitely go and see it. Just don't expect Pacific
You've been warned.
Well, and you've also been recommended.
But warned.
But recommended.
Yes.